So, one of the things that we're talking about this week is on relationships. We're talking about relationships. And Julie and Mark did a fantastic job when they talked and spoke on their vlog last week about marriage. So, I wanted to kind of continue that and just share a little bit about what it looks like for my husband and I. You know, when we fell in love, the thing that I realized very quickly is I loved the fact that he had a heart for God. And to be quite honest, that's really what our foundation was based on. We talked about God until late in the hours. I know that sounds really crazy, but we both have a passion for ministry. And one of the things that I realized is that not only did he have a passion for God, but he was such a strong leader and had just such strong leadership giftings within him. And I felt very, let me think, it's been 30 years ago, but I mean, I felt not just taken care of, but I knew that he was going to be the spiritual leader in our family and that he would lead and guide our children when we began to have children. But one of the things that I want to share with you is I'm going to read some of my notes here is one of the things that we do at Bayside, it's called Discovery Seminar. And basically what that is we teach you what your motivational gifts are. And what they are they're your DNA. That motivational gifts is what I discovered when my oldest was in second grade. And I learned so much about how we're wired. I learned about what our strengths are. I learned what our weaknesses are. The wonderful thing I loved is that at that time in my life, I was learning literally about how to teach my children how they would do academically, even discipline, like which ones are stronger willed, which ones are not. The stronger willed, I don't call stronger willed any longer. I call them, they're the ones with the leadership giftings because it's a positive, not a negative. And so with my husband and I, we realized pretty soon after we got married that we both have very strong leadership giftings and we have very strong personalities. So when I discovered these gifts, literally, it transformed our marriage. So just to share with you a little bit about us, first of all, my husband is what you call an administrator and a teacher encourager. I know that's it's a different language for us, so I'll go slow. A couple of the things that he loves is number one, he loves to be alone. He is a thinker, he is a reader, he is a researcher, he writes curriculum, he's written a book called Dangerous Prayers, and that's what he loves doing. When he comes home, he loves to go into his office, close the door, have his cup of coffee, and just sit and read and think. I, on the other hand, I'm an encourager, so I can tell you that I do like alone time, but not that much alone time. I don't want to be in my office all day long with the door closed and no people because I can get depressed because people energize me, whereas for him, they don't energize him the same way. Another thing is that he loves to work alone. I love to work with people. So you can see even in those things that I realized when we first got married, and he realized that I wanted to be with people all the time, and he wanted to be with people some of the time. And we had to learn our giftings, or we got to. And the reason that we did is because we began to see how we were each one of us created by God, so that instead of getting frustrated at our differences, we began to celebrate our differences. And we began to realize that they really made us more of a whole person. That my strengths maybe were his weaknesses, and his weaknesses were my strengths. And what we began to do is we began to compensate for one another. And instead of pulling each other apart, we began to work as a team together. And isn't that what marriage is all about? It's about a commitment and it's about working together as a team. And so that's what we begin to do with the giftings as our tool. Another couple things is that I said he loves to read, and he loves to think. Like I can remember times past whenever I would ask him a question, and he didn't answer, and I'm like, did you hear me? Like I just asked you a question, and he would look at me and he'd say, I'm thinking. And I would be like, okay, it really doesn't take that long to think about it. Now remember, he's an administrator and a teacher gift, and I'm a perceiver and an encourager gift. Well, I can tell you perceiver gifts think quickly, think on their feet. They want a yes, no answer. I don't have maybes. I don't have gray areas. I'm very black and white. So in my mind, I'm thinking, why in the world do you have to sit meditatively to answer a simple question? Okay, I'm being a little facetious here. Sorry, Alex. I love you, babe. But what I'm saying is this, is that we're so different and wired so completely different. At one time, it was a struggle for us. It was very difficult because it frustrated me. And then I looked at his giftings, and I'll be honest, administrators can be very bossy and they like to tell people what to do. And so even now, there are times whenever I'll go, and like I was traveling recently, and he said, you know, Kim, make sure you don't leave your computer in your room, or because somebody could get it, or we could be driving and he'll be telling me, now Kim, you need to park right over there. And so for me, perceivers, I can tell you, we don't like to be told what to do. You can persuade us, you can make a suggestion, but don't tell me what to do. So if you tell me to park over there, do you think I really want to park over there? Okay, just kidding. Not really. That's what it's all about. So this is what I want to share with you, and I want to end with this, is that we have different giftings. But when we're together, whether it's a husband, wife, whether it's a mother and your child, a father and their child, whether it's a friendship, or even what I do at Bayside. I'm the director of Women's Weekend and now a pastor. Yay! Just got ordained. Been doing it for years only because that's my heart, and it was a timing and a season issue. But the one thing that I've realized is this. I want to invite women to be a part of the retreat team because they have the leadership giftings or the right giftings that fit what we do here at Bayside. And that's what giftings are about as well. It's about putting people in places so that we can celebrate their dream and pull it out of them. It's not about putting somebody like me in the nursery with kids and no adults and they talk baby talk all day. That could be okay for a little while, but for me, I like to be with people. But I guess you can tell I also like to talk because encouragers love to talk. And so for me, learning these things, just a side note, talking about talking, like my husband, remember he likes to think and I like to talk, right? Well, I have learned that if I just start off in the morning and I just start running through and telling him and talking to him, and he's drinking his coffee or he may be going over to make his breakfast, like he doesn't like that first thing in the morning. So what I had to learn is this. I had to learn there's a time when I get my words out, but there's a time when I have to just give him that meditative time. And so ladies and men, if you're interested, learn the giftings. You can go to our Discovery Seminar. This is not an advertisement and a commercial, but you can go to Discover Your God-Given Gifts by Don and Katie Fortune. You can buy the book on Amazon. They have one for children's. They have one for spouses. But the thing I want to leave with you is this. God wants you a whole person. And the reason that he wants you whole is so that he can use you more effectively. When you marry somebody, you can feel very fragmented if you don't celebrate each other's strengths and each other's weaknesses. And if you're coming against their weakness, you're coming against how God created you. He gave you their strength to empower them. And he gave them your strength to empower you. And that's how we work together as one. So I just want to encourage you today, operate as one, build a foundation, be strong, and make a decision today that, you know what, I'm going for the long haul. We're going to be married forever. And I've told Alex, you're stuck with me, buddy, until the end of time. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, if you're there, make a commitment and begin to understand one another. So I just want to leave you with that thought. Hope you enjoyed this vlog. We would love your feedback. We would love your comments. We would love for you to share your comments and even share this vlog with your friends. And lastly, we would love for you to subscribe to us. All you have to do is go on to GenerationEve.com and hit subscribe and put in your email. Thank you, and I hope to see you again soon.